So this month at Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, we are highlighting the power of release, which is the ability to let go. And join me in saying this affirmation together. Whatever I release will bless me. And these questions came to mind. What if we don't have to struggle? What if the act of releasing is a gift? And if this is true, then why don't we do it? Our guest speaker, Reverend Dr. Martha Creek, will explore what letting go means for us in the process of spiritual awakening. Reverend Martha needs little introduction to our community. She is ordained in religious science and divine science. She approaches deep inner work as an adventure with a sense of curiosity and wonder, with a gift for asking just the right question to elicit insight and healing. A leader in the New Thought community, she serves those who serve. And we have been the beneficiary of her great service for us. To learn more about Martha, please visit her website at www.marthacreek.com. Our spiritual community is blessed to have her insights, spiritual wisdom, and guidance. I'm so pleased to welcome Reverend Martha. And we will first listen to a song to prepare us for meditation. Then Reverend Martha will lead us in the meditation, followed by her Sunday lesson. Oh, welcome, Martha.
It's all about allowing peace within. In absolute surrender, so serenity begins. For when the storm subsided and calm becomes the way, it's all about allowing it to stay. It's all about allowing love to flow. It's setting down your burden and just simply letting go. For as you cease the struggle and love pours through your heart, it's all about allowing it to start. Now feel it warm and shining, new with promise, strong, undying love, different than any you have known. And now the seed is sown. It's all about allowing change to show, then living in the moment like it's all you'll ever know. And though it won't be easy, you can truly say you tried, for it's all about allowing it inside.
Allowing, aware of the moment now, willing, and curious. With a renewed courage, a heightened consciousness of courage, of daring even. I invite you to the presence of your breath, the breath that isn't yours. breath, breathed, being breathed. And to imagine now, intentionally and purposefully, imagine an immediate sudden cessation of all the pressure, of an offloading of the pressure, the outer pressures, the family pressures, the job, career pressures, the pressures of body and health, the pressures of emotion, the inner pressures. The mental pressure set aside. And breathe into this sudden feeling of relief, of a literal, physical, emotional, spiritual letting go. A new experience of surrender. And imagine what it would be like to live from all is as it is. All is as it is. No pressure to like it, no pressure to love it, no pressure to condone it, no pressure to defend it. Free, free, swing wide the doors for a new experience. Now imagine you're in the midst of an intense argument. Defending, wanting to be heard, wanting to be understood, wanting to be seen, wanting to be validated, wanting to be right. And then suddenly, the whole thing strikes you as unnecessary. Maybe even you're struck as how absurd it is. Imagine being struck by, this is optional. Maybe even ridiculous. And imagine the shift then from that intense arguing, defending, blaming, shaming, guilty, manipulating, coercion, needing, wanting, shoulding. The shift out of that, the letting go of that. To be spontaneously and suddenly free. Lighter, willing, understanding. So we give thanks for this time of pause today. This time of renewal, this time of awakening to another option. We give thanks for amazing grace. Thanks that we're no longer blind to this. And we begin again. So be it. So it is. Amen. Big deep breath, everybody. It's such a privilege to be here with you today. I'm serving in a community down in the middle of Mexico, and their service is later today. So I get to be with two groups. And I'm in the depth of practice of this letting go. This is inspired by this book, Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender. And I was noticing on the website, my website, marthacreek.com, and the YouTube channel, Martha Creek, how many pictures there are of me holding this book up like that. Well, there's a reason. There's also a reason it's underlined and starred, because it is a textbook, and it has been a textbook for me as I continue to go back through this. And I'm also facilitating a group and an immersion of this too. So it's absolutely available to anybody, and including this, and the author is David Hawkins, Dr. David R. Hawkins, in case you want to check it out for yourself. So this letting go, we've heard so many times over the years, letting go, let go, let go, let go and let God, let go and let God. And, you know, I've said, even if I could let go and let God, I would have done that a long time ago. So it's a great idea. And I'm just now getting some mastery around learning how to do that. And I can tell you what it's not first, and then we'll look at what it is, maybe. It is not a spiritual bypassing of feelings. It is not toxic positivity. It is not a denial of your emotional aspects of yourself. It is not saying, oh, I'm fine, 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 when I'm not fine, fine, fine. So it's not pretending, false facing, masking, lying to this. And I've not met any human being yet that wants to hear all is well when they're burying their child or their pet or their beloved family. And all is well in the absolute, maybe, you know, we'll know one day. However, back at the ranch here, back in our humanness here, there's some pain, suffering, emotions, intensity. There's also this mechanism of letting go, of surrender, a true state of surrender that accepts what I cannot change, changes what I can. And then somewhere over there, the wisdom of knowing what I can change and cannot change grows and heightens and empowers us. And eventually, it's okay either way. And don't believe me, or until you have embodied this yourself, it's just crazy Creek woman, blah, blah, blah. So this technique is about, instead of suppressing feelings, depressing feelings, disowning feelings, denying feelings, shutting them off, stuffing them in, finding ways to distract addictions, and that it's to allow the feeling, all of it, the depth of it, the rage, the intensity, the sadness, the despair, the grief, the mad as heck, whatever's there, to swing wide the door and let the feeling live its life. Let the feeling be there. Let it have all the space it needs, and watching and noticing that it actually dissolves. There's seldom a feeling, regardless of how intense, that won't pass, dissolve, transform, transmute, whatever word you want to give it. And listen to this, folks. Just a minute or two. 60 seconds, 120 seconds, 1 or 2 minutes in doing this process and using this technique. And more intense feelings can take longer, but even in the first minute or two, there's a lightness. There is an offloading of it somehow. And the keys to this include no intent, no resisting it, no trying to manipulate it, no I'm trying to get rid of my anxiety. That's resistance, that's manipulation, coercion, pressure. And the more we resist it, the more pressure we put, the more wanting we throw in on it, the more intensified it gets. So it's actually counterintuitive to some of us, and not the truest intuition, but this rote way that the mind has approached things up until now. So it's the opposite for some of us that says, I'm not trying to shift it, change it. I'm not trying to get it to go. It is welcome here. I'm tending to it. I'm caring for it. And in doing so, I'm caring for myself. And then it passes and rises on its own timing. So get a sense of if you were willing to live this out. And if this reservoir, this accumulated pressure of feelings that's been causing us to do some very, very interesting things since the beginning of time. And to even begin to approach that these feelings are causing thought systems. The feelings are causing belief systems, paradigms, structures of knowing. And at least, even if you are not open to believing that feelings are cause, which is opposite to some that thought as cause, what if it's both? And that these feelings is what this pressurized reservoir of this is what keeps these thought systems in place and these belief systems in place, which, I refer to as our BS. So that then dealing with some of these feelings and being different in these feelings is a systematic dismantling of that old, painful structure of knowing and the belief systems, the paradigms that have been in existence since human beings have been into existence. So reflect a minute on what stops you from letting go. What are you afraid of would happen if you literally let go? And to find small ways to do this that are powerful. For me, for example, I've used over the years, some of you have heard it, like, that's not my business. That's not my business. And the second I get over there into somebody else's business, it's going to be more stress, more stress, more stress. Lately, I'll say, that is stressing me, and it actually doesn't apply to me. What they're doing does not apply to me. How they're being does not apply to me. So it's the classic, I know where I begin and end, and I know where they begin and end. So things like this can be beneficial for some too. So we have 3 major ways of handling feelings: suppression, expression, and escapism. And suppression and repression are the most common, where we push down feelings, and the majority of it is done unconsciously. We don't do it on purpose, most of us. Suppression, though, does have a level of consciousness. We don't want to be bothered by feelings. I don't have time for feelings. And I remember an instant in my life where something struck me in the deepest internal part of me, where I said to someone, they said, aren't you going to grieve that? Aren't you going to take time to grieve that? And I said, I don't have the luxury of grieving. So we suffer through them. We try to keep pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, keep our functioning the best we can. And then the feelings that we select to be suppressed or repressed are in accord with conscious and unconscious programmings that we carry with us from history, customs, culture, socialization, familial training, whatever's in our bones and blood. And then, of course, comes out as irritability, mood swings, tension in the body, disorders, etc. Now, these mechanisms that are used by the mind that keep this repression include denial and projection. There's nothing going on here. This is all an illusion. Maybe, but if I drop a bowling ball on my toe, it hurts. It hurts sane people, I'll say. So primarily because of guilt and fear, we repress this. Guilt and fear causes us to repress and suppress this. So then expression, and we've heard a lot about speak your truth. I need to tell my truth. It's like, well, there's not many listeners, A. B, I'm not listening. So the only listener in the world is me. And if I ever meet one in the world besides me, it's a bonus and it'll pass. And then this truth that I call truth is not universal truth. It's not their truth. It's me trying to be right again. So with this mechanism, where in the past we verbalized it, it's now sitting with it instead. Now, I'm not against safe anger work. Yell it out, scream it out, cuss it out, write it out, worksheet it out, anything you can. That's a different matter. It's a different Sunday. But the mechanism of this is to be with those intense feelings and neither suppress them, repress them, or express them. To let it burn off instead. And to watch the ego shriek. Watch the resistance come up every way in the world. It'll want to get you not to do this. And then escapism. An avoidance of this inner plane. And it causes us to reach for all matters of things, food and any addiction, entertainment, whatever. Now, it's nothing about don't watch a good movie here and there. It's to see, what am I using that movie for? What am I using that substance for? And to have at least some practice and some willingness to say, for a time, I'm not going to watch the movie till I've dealt with what's here. So take a big deep breath as you think about letting go. As you think about what surrender means to you. And as you imagine the freedom that is yours right here and right now. Right here and right now. To do it differently. So our best thinking got us here. So what if we actually do something different now and give it a go to see? And here's some ways that we've done this painfully in the past to keep our form identity intact. Demand recognition for something we did. And then getting angry or upset or sad sack or pathetic or pitiful when we don't get it. Trying to get attention by talking about our problems, our illnesses, or making a scene. You know, you've heard this with somebody says, hey, I was sick, down for 4 days, had 103 temperature. And it's like, oh girl, I was down 7 days, I had 105 temperature. Outdoing, dramatizing, awfulizing. 3, giving your opinion when it has not been sought. Giving your opinion when nobody has asked for it. Now, this will finish some of us off, to actually listen to dialogue or listen to folks and to offer no opinion about it. remember we're about letting this pressure cooker unleash. And then some of us are more concerned with how other people see us than we are with seeing the other person. We're more demanding to be understood than we are to be understanding. Trying to make impressions on people with what we wear, what we do, what we have, what we own, what we've attained, our possessions, our good looks, our strength. Taking things personally, making ourselves right and others wrong, even unconsciously. So now that we've detected some of these patterns within ourselves, I'm gonna invite you to join me in my experiment, which is to find out what it feels like, what actually will happen if I let this go, if I choose again, something different, to just drop it and stay with this and interrupt some of these patterns. Discover, friends, discover the enormous power. Discover the power within you that flows through you, that's ever present, innate, inherent, and closer than our hands and our feet when we let go. Surrender. A pathway, a direction, letting go. All my blessings to you. Please join me in the new year for classes, marthacreek.com to get the links if you want to come on in. Thank you for what you are in the world, for your devotion, your dedication, your service. I thank you. Blessings.